On the table in front of me here, you will see all of the components that we need to illustrate the correct cleaning procedures, as well as the actual tools and devices we will use to perform diagnostics and clean all of the necessary components. So on the components which require cleaning side, we have the RTS 125 Plus sensing system. We have one broadband reflector. This is the unit which has to go one per channel here on the system to define where the sensing length is. And then we also have one FC-APC patch cord. This device serves as the lead cable or standoff length between the system and your broadband reflector. On the cleaning devices side, we have right here what we call a click connector. This is a device which can be used for both cleaning the exposed connectors, such as on this FC-APC patch cord, and it can also be used to clean the internal connectors on the inside of these FC-APC mating couplers. You see those on the broadband reflector and on the front panel here of the system. Just to the right of that, we have this ferrule cleaner. So this device is only used for cleaning the exposed connectors, such as on the lead cables. And then kind of as a backup tool and for general cleaning, we also have some lint-free wipes and some isopropyl alcohol. And then last, down here on the bottom, we have a microscope. So this will actually enable us to take one of these exposed connectors and check if it has been cleaned or even damaged by inserting the connector into this unit, and you can see it in a magnified view on this other end. Before we get started illustrating the use of the cleaning tools, we're first going to go over the different components of a fiber optic connection. So I'm going to start here with the exposed portion of the connection. This is an FC-APC connector. The important part here is this, what's called the ferrule. So when you remove the cap, you expose this little ceramic cylinder, and at the very end it has a polished end, at which point the fiber optic inside is exposed. And so this is the part that you really do not want to have anything touching or scraping, because you can make this very dirty and you can interrupt the communication across this termination. On the other side of the termination, which is located on both sides of your broadband reflector, as well as the front panel of the sensing system, is an FC-APC mating coupler. So on the other side of this, there is the same type of connector here, and then you just take the exposed one that you have access to and connect it on that side. And so both of these need to be cleaned and maintained to maintain optimal use of the system. So the first device for cleaning that we will use is the click cleaner. So this particular cleaner is very useful in that it can clean both the hidden connectors behind the couplers, and it can also clean the exposed one. So first we'll demonstrate the exposed version. So on this device, there's a cap here that you can remove. When you remove it, it's a cleaner for the mating couplers. And then when this cap is on, and you just undo this little lid here, it has a little receptacle for the ferrule. And so this is the exposed connector cleaning side. So to clean the connector, you remove the cap, you insert the ferrule into the receptacle, being sure not to touch the end of that exposed fiber to any part of this, because there might be grease on here. So you very carefully align it. Once it's aligned, you can fully insert it. And then for the cleaner, you just push it in until it clicks. What this does is there's a very small bit of exposed thread here, and as you push this in and clicks, it will swipe that thread and also rotate it, so it swipes and cleans the end of your termination. Once the termination is cleaned, either make the connection or replace the cap. On the coupler side, I've removed the receptacle here, exposing just the thread. This is the part which you insert into the coupler and perform the same procedure. Now the connection is ready to be made, or you can replace the caps. It is highly recommended for the maintenance of these connectors to make sure they remain clean even when they're not being used, to always replace all connectors when not in use with the either coupler cap or the ferrule cap. The last method of cleaning that we are going to demonstrate is called the wet-dry method. This method requires the use of a single lint-free wipe and also isopropyl alcohol or any other solvent may be used. So for this, it's very similar to the ferrule cleaner. So it's only going to be used for the exposed terminations. But because the swiping motion of both the clicker cleaner and the ferrule cleaner creates a small static charge on the end of your exposed termination, that charge can actually attract dust and moisture over time, even when it's connected to a mating sleeve. So if you want to reduce that static charge and make sure these connections last even longer before you clean them again, you can use this wet dry method. So the first step is to take your solvent and to put a little bit on only half of your lint-free wipe. And then just like the ferrule cleaner, you take this, the termination, and you start in the wet portion and you end in the dry portion. So again, just a single one-directional swipe. Now this connector is clean. The final tool we're going to illustrate the use of is a diagnostic tool. So as you use these connectors, it's useful to be able to check them to make sure that a dirty connector is or is not the source of a bad reading or noisy data. And so that tool is this microscope here. This is a 200x magnification fiber microscope, and it is only for use with the exposed terminations. There are other versions of this which we do not have available today, which you can use as a probe to insert into the mated couplers so you can see the internal couplers on the other side. So to use this, we first remove the ferrule cap. On the end of the microscope, you will see this little mating sleeve. So that's where you want to insert the ferrule. And again, you want to make sure nothing touches the end of this so you do not induce any scratches or any grease or dust. So after carefully aligning it, you can then insert the ferrule. At this point, one would look into the microscope on the other end. There's a focus knob here which you can adjust, and this will allow you to very clearly see the end face of this termination, and it is very clear whether or not there are any scratches or dust particles or moisture particles. So in the case of dust or moisture, one would remove this and clean using any of the tools we previously illustrated. If there are any scratches, this connector or this FC-APC patch cord would then need to be replaced.